We've been very blessed. We've had the same crew for 13 years. And so everybody I work with was very close to Frank.
Mike Wolfe and Frank Fritz's were more than just business partners and co-stars. They were brothers. Together, they built an empire from nothing. But with success came secrets, and loyalty had its limits. A betrayal no one saw coming. A bitter fallout played out in public.
The U.S. Sun has obtained first photos of Mike days after the passing of his beloved friend and longtime co-star, Frank Fritz.
A tragedy that left one dead and the other sentenced. This is the story of two brilliant men who built an empire from scratch, faced personal battles, and left behind a legacy that may never be forgotten. Mike Wolfe and Frank Fritz's fallout was highly publicized as the feud between the longtime friends worsened after Fritz was not asked to come back to the show in 2021 as a result of his substance abuse problems. He went public with his frustration at Wolfe in an interview with The Sun, and many wondered what would happen to the friendship of over 30 years. How did this dynamic duo meet in the first place? The bond between Mike Wolfe and Frank Fritz. Fritz and Wolfe first met in middle school, and having both grown up without fathers, they bonded over the mutual struggles they faced while moving through life. Wolfe even noted that when he came up with the idea for American Pickers, Fritz was the only one who didn't laugh at him, and the duo set out to make one of the most successful shows, and even became household names. According to Wolfe, he was left-handed, but Fritz made him feel ambidextrous. However, this friendship was characterized by several ups and downs, which friends, colleagues, and fans witnessed. After meetings in 2009, they took their friendship further by working together on American Pickers, and both friends appeared alongside Danielle Colby-Cushman up until season 21, when things seemed to change. Many fans were shocked and began to ask questions when, halfway through the season, Frank just stopped appearing on the show outright. Now, initially, no one came forward with knowledge of Fritz's departure from the show, but soon enough, details emerged and the public was stunned by this news. Frank had been pulled out of the show. However, we needed to get the full information from the horse's mouth. In July 2021, Frank had an interview where he revealed that he had undergone back surgery, which had forced him to take a leave of absence from the show. However, when he would come back depended on the network. This seems like he had no choice. According to him, he finished shooting and then had a little back surgery, after which the pandemic came. In that same interview, Fritz voiced out his thoughts on how the show was being run, stating that the show is tilted toward him, Mike, 1,000%. I can't even bend that far down to show you how much. On top of that, he added that he and Mike hadn't spoken in 2 years, and that Mike had never contacted him to check on him after surgery. This statement came as a shock to many, as both Mike and Frank had been friends right from a young age, basically growing up together. Now, before we get further into this friendship-turned-feud story, let's backtrack a little bit and see where it all began. Frank Fritz was born and raised in Davenport, Iowa. There, he developed an early interest in collecting diverse artifacts such as rocks, beer cans, and postage stamps. And this early passion for rarities paved the way for his future profession in antiques collection. His parents, Susan and Bill Fritz, separated when he was a child, and his mother eventually married Richard Zerby in 1974. As a young child, Fritz attended local schools in Davenport, and this was where he met his lifelong friend and future co-host, Mike Wolfe. Their shared interest in collecting and exploring led them to embark on numerous picking adventures during their teenage years. However, there aren't many details about Frank's higher education. Before gaining fame on television, Frank Fritz worked as a fire inspector for 25 years. And during that period, he continued to nurture his passion for antiques, specializing in vintage toys and cars, until he co-created American Pickers with Wolfe. It was a reality TV series that followed their journeys across the United States in search of rare artifacts and treasures. The show first premiered on the History Channel, and then it quickly became one of its most popular programs, airing on that station consistently and attracting millions of viewers. The show was a success, and so were Fritz and Wolfe. However, it wasn't long before the cracks began to show in their relationship. When the History Channel announced that Frank would no longer be on the show, Mike released a statement about the decision. At the time, he said, "The journey that Frank, Danny, and I started back in 2009, like all of life, has come with its highs and lows, blessings and challenges. But it has also been the most rewarding. I will miss Frank, just like all of you, and I pray for the very best and all good things for him on the next part of his journey." Frank's reply to this statement came in another interview where he slammed Mike for releasing the statement that way and called him out for lying. According to him, Mike's statement wasn't true. Somebody wrote it out for him. He continued, "We never were friends in grade school. I don't believe in 10 years he's said 5 nice things to me. You know, unless he was cutting somebody else down, and we were both laughing." The passing of Frank Fritz. Like many public figures, Frank Fritz has faced his share of challenges throughout his career, and this has been characterized by health issues, particularly his battle with Crohn's disease. However, despite these challenges, Frank remained resilient and continued to pursue his passion for antiques and collecting. Unfortunately, Fritz succumbed to death 2 years after he had a stroke, and this news greatly saddened the public. Fritz's former co-host and friend Mike Wolfe confirmed the news on Instagram as he shared that Fritz had died on September 30th, 2024, surrounded by him and his late mother's best friend. According to him, "I've known Frank for more than half my life, and what you've seen on TV has always been what I have seen. A dreamer who was just as sensitive as he was funny. The same off-camera as he was on, Frank had a way of reaching the hearts of so many by just being himself. Who would have ever dreamed we would share the cockpit of a white cargo van in front of millions of people interested in our adventures?" Also, the History Channel, which broadcasts American Pickers, posted an announcement of Fritz's death on Instagram, captioning an image of him with the following statement: "We are saddened to share that our friend and beloved member of the History Channel and American Pickers family, Frank Fritz, has passed away on September 30th, 2024. Frank filmed American Pickers for over a decade. We will always remember the bearded charmer and his never-ending search for vintage motorcycles and bikes. Our thoughts are with Frank's loved ones during this difficult time. He will be deeply missed." Danielle Colby, another star of the show, posted on Instagram, "Frank, I will miss your ability to make everyone laugh, your love for talking tattoos, your epic collections, but what I will miss the most are those little glimpses of vulnerability from time to time." She continues, "Frank, you loved your cat and your mama, and we bonded on those things. You will be missed for all of these reasons, and so many more. Rest in peace, Road Dog." Fritz's manager, Bill Stanky, also had a few words to say. Frank Fritz was an exceptional human being. He loved life. He cared about people. He always had a kind word to say, and he knew more about Americana and antiques than anyone I ever met. He was the anchor of American Pickers. He will be missed by his friends, family, and fans, he stated. However, not many fans were willing to accept the fact that their favorite co-host was gone. And then, the accusations began to come in, with Mike Wolfe being at the center of it all. Recall that during their feud, it was rumored that Fritz was not coming back to the show. Well, his buddy Mike Wolfe didn't come out to answer or acknowledge any of Fritz's criticisms, but rather, he released a statement to entertainment media outlets, wishing his former cohort well and curiously not protesting Fritz's decision whatsoever. He stated, "I have known Frank for as long as I can remember. He's been like a brother to me," Wolfe wrote. The journey that Frank, Danny, and I started back in 2009, like all of life, has come with its highs and lows, blessings and challenges, but it has also been the most rewarding. I will miss Frank, just like all of you, and I pray for the very best and all good things for him on the next part of his journey. However, fans did not fall for this, as it seemed even more suspicious that Wolfe's brother, Robbie, replaced Fritz on the show. Fans commented, "I know Frank is fairly abrasive, and they love to portray him as a cheapskate, as part of the show, like the whole recycling in the van fake side story, but for the most part, he was way more sincere, real than Mike's total greed-driven, fake empathy attitude." Then there's his brother Robbie, always pretending he knows WTF he's talking about when it's blatantly obvious he doesn't know anything about antiques. And my lord, is he cheap. He pushes so hard on these poor folks that are obviously struggling and selling their heirlooms to get by. Wolf's in sheep's clothing. Both brothers are such phonies. It really sickened me that they ditched Frank because he had a serious operation and some substance issues he's fully addressing. Some friends, they are. Another commented, "I hate it. It's more and more contrived and blatantly staged fake as the episodes go on. The fake charm is gone from Mike and Danielle. Robbie is the most annoying of them all. And without Fritz to balance out the bullshit of the two Wolves, the show's going to tank. The only people left worth watching are Jersey John and the Silver Fox, LOL. And they're barely on the show. It's over now. The show was already slowing down and becoming insanely repetitive. Others have speculated that the reason why the duo got separated was because Frank's agent wanted Frank to be earning more, and they couldn't work it out. And because Mike is obviously a producer, he must make a lot more. This sounds like the show got in the way of their friendship. But how does Mike fit into it all? His response just might reveal more than he intended. Mike Wolfe sentenced. While Mike was not exactly sentenced, as in a legal courtroom, it would seem that the public has already crucified him with the amount of backlash and emotional and public scrutiny he has received following Frank's passing. But how did he respond to these comments? Let's see.
He was the godfather to my nieces, and I was lucky to be there when he passed, and it's hard to talk about still just because it's...
According to Wolfe in an interview, the two had patched up their strained relationship in 2023 since Fritz suffered a stroke in 2022. He stated, "I got the call that he wasn't doing well. I just feel blessed that I was able to get there. I was there for about an hour before he passed, and I was holding his hand and rubbing his chest when he took his last breath. I took my fingers and I closed his eyes. And then, when I could see that he was struggling, I just said, 'Just go find your mom. Go find her right now. Just go find her.'" Wolfe actually admitted that, even though he had been hurt by Fritz's 2021 interview, where he, Fritz, had stated that they hadn't spoken for 2 years. The hurt began to heal when they began speaking again in 2023. According to the co-host, it was beautiful, and it was easy to forgive his friend because he knew it had not been him talking, but his addiction. In fact, Wolfe's final words to Fritz, as he lay dying, were full of love and peace. "I just told him that I wasn't mad at him, and that I loved him, and that I cared about him so much," Wolfe recalled to People. Surely it is obvious that despite the drama and tension that has been a part of their friendship for a long time, despite Fritz's substance abuse struggles, Wolfe wants people to know that his friend was a beautiful person at his core. However, the public has been quick to sentence Wolfe, calling him out after the death of his friend for abandoning him and not calling him for 2 years while he was sick. Not only did he do that, but he replaced him on the show with his brother, Robbie. His response has now left the public with lessons on friendship and hope. Ultimately, Wolfe told the public that he had left no stone unturned in reconciling with his old friend. He had earlier stated that Fritz had a substance addiction, and this led to him being removed from the show, contrary to public opinion. However, we wouldn't blame the public, as the fact that he is coming out now, just after his friend's death, is actually suspicious timing, considering dead men tell no tales. Could the public be judging him a bit too harshly? The future of American pickers. With the death of Frank Fritz, does this mark the end of American pickers as fans know it? Many have pondered this question, as without Fritz, the show doesn't feel the same. And fans have been vocal about this. This was why it didn't come as a surprise to many when Mike Wolfe made this important announcement. Wolfe has revealed that the popular series is set to stop production for the first time in 15 years. This news of a hiatus is coming 6 months after Frank Fritz's death at 60. In an interview, he confirmed plans for a filming hiatus once he wraps up for the upcoming season in June, stating that the hiatus would allow him time to pursue other opportunities, and further explained how he had often turned down a lot of stuff as he felt overwhelmed. Now he is taking on new challenges, such as his appearance in the new movie, Day of Reckoning.
Actually still filming. We'll be filming until June of this year, and then we'll pick up again in January.
This is the first hiatus that the show has taken in 15 years, and Wolfe feels it is well-deserved. He also stated that the crew members on the next season would be persons whom Frank had worked with and who were very close to him. It would seem that by this statement, Wolfe still wants to show Fritz's association to the show, even in death. Could this be for economic benefits, or could he truly have buried the hatchet? This, however, does not change the fact that the show has had a huge impact on its viewers, who have fallen in love with having the duo on their screens. Frank Fritz's legacy. Frank Fritz has not only become a household name for those who enjoy the world of antiques and collectibles, he has also become a symbol of pursuing your passion, no matter what it is. Frank Fritz's legacy extends beyond his work on American Pickers and his contributions to the world of antiques. Today, he has become an inspiration to countless individuals to pursue their passion for collecting, encouraging them to explore the stories behind the items they acquire. His impact on the antique community is very much obvious and undeniable, and his influence continues to be felt by collectors and enthusiasts around the world. The audience, most of all, was able to connect with him through his kind nature and his passion for antique pieces. Through his dedication to preserving history and his commitment to sharing the stories of the past, Frank has not only left an indelible mark on the industry, but has also left behind a legacy. One that serves as a reminder of the importance of preserving cultural heritage and the power of storytelling in connecting us to our history and to each other. A fan stated, "R.I.P. Frank Fritz. You were an inspiration to learn from. Thanks for showing my family and I a piece of history." This was the essence and passion of Fritz. Fritz has had a huge impact on the antique world, helping to popularize the field and make it more accessible to a wider audience. Through his work on American Pickers, he has introduced viewers to the world of antiques, piquing their interest and curiosity. Frank's knowledge and enthusiasm for collecting have inspired a new generation of collectors, encouraging them to explore the world of antiques and learn about the tales behind the artifacts they discover. His influence on the town is still seen in the rising interest in antiques and collectibles, as well as a growing concern for preserving heritage and craftsmanship. On a final note, following the turn of events, we are left with lessons revolving around a friendship that endures, and a legacy that even death cannot erase from memory. The story of Mike Wolfe and Frank Fritz is one of a dynamic duo, a dreamer and a leader, which later became something much more exceptional. Despite the challenges, they reconciled in the end, sharing with the world the most important part of friendship, forgiveness. Despite the allegations and the struggle with public scrutiny, Mike managed to prove to the public that he had reconciled with Fritz before his death. The death of Frank Fritz, a man whose love for antiques was only matched by his unbreakable spirit, is not only the end of an era on American pickers, but also the last page in a lifelong friendship, one that is over 3 decades long, but triumphed in the end. Although the death of Frank has left a hole in the hearts of many, his legacy and art will continue to live on. What do you think about the friendship between this dynamic duo and how it ended? What impact do you think this will have on American pickers? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Click on the next video on your screen for more content like this.